Have you ever felt like you're just drowning in information? Like the world is pumping out articles and data faster than any human could possibly keep up? Well, you're not alone. That exact feeling is hitting the world of academic research hard. Today, we're diving into how a powerful new tool, artificial intelligence, is becoming both a lifeline and maybe a whole new challenge in the race for knowledge.
So, how are we going to tackle this? Here's our roadmap. First, we'll get a feel for the problem, the research rat race. Then, we'll meet your new AI research assistant and see what it can actually do. After that, we'll zoom out and see how AI can connect the dots for the whole research community. But of course, there's a catch, so we'll dive into whether this is a risky fix. And we'll wrap up by asking the most important question. Can this tech help us be smarter and not just faster?
All right, first up, the research rat race. We're talking about the relentless pressure cooker that many are calling accelerated academia.
It all starts with a question that, let's be honest, probably feels a little too real. If you're not in your head right now, you get it. And believe me, researchers are feeling this on a massive industrial scale.
Here's the deal. Academia today is basically a high-speed global competition. There's this incredible pressure to publish more, get more funding, and hit all these specific targets. Researchers are caught in this loop of speeding up just to keep up, which honestly perfectly captures the frantic pace needed just to stay in the game.
And if you want a number that really puts this into perspective, get this. A 2019 report found that a staggering 77% of all research papers on AI were published in just the 5 years before that. Think about that. The vast majority of knowledge in one of the most important fields on the planet is brand new. How is anyone supposed to keep on top of that wave?
So, faced with this absolute tsunami of information, how is anyone supposed to cope? Well, this is where AI steps in, and it's increasingly being seen as a kind of personal research assistant for every single academic.
Now, let's be super clear. We are not talking about some sci-fi, all-knowing general intelligence, okay? We're talking about something called narrow AI. These are basically hyper-specialized tools. They're designed for very specific data-in, data-out jobs. So you might feed it a ton of data, and it gives you a very specific kind of data back. Think of it less like a new brain and more like a superpowered apprentice that's amazing at data-heavy tasks.
So, what can this AI assistant actually do? We can think about its jobs as a sort of taxonomy of AI-powered research. First up, you've got information synthesis. It can sift through literally thousands of articles and automatically summarize the ones that matter to you. Then there's data analysis. It can spot these tiny, subtle patterns in massive data sets that a human eye would just completely miss. And finally, there's good old task automation, taking on all that time-consuming, tedious work, the heavy lifting that really bogs down the creative part of the job.
And this quote from a life sciences researcher just says it all, doesn't it? For a lot of people, AI isn't about replacing deep human thought. It's about getting a machine to handle the awful, mundane tasks that nobody wants to do, so the human minds can get back to the work that actually matters.
But hey, the benefits don't just stop with one person at their desk. AI also has this incredible potential to help the entire research community connect and work together in ways that were never possible before.
Now, what's really cool about this diagram is it gives us a map of AI's impact. We've been talking about that inner circle, the individual perks, right? Boosting productivity, saving time. But now, we're going to zoom out to that outer circle, the collective benefits that could literally reshape how science itself gets done.
You can think of AI as a powerful bridge. By looking at thousands of papers, it can spot these hidden links between, say, neuroscience and computer science, breaking down those old walls between different fields. It can even act as a matchmaker, suggesting new collaborations between researchers who don't even know each other exist. And beyond that, it can help connect complex science to the public, making findings more accessible and even supporting things like citizen science. It's pretty cool. But you knew there was a but, right? With any tool this powerful, there's a flip side. The very speed and automation that make AI so appealing also brings some very real risks to the table. Is this a solution, or is it a risky fix?
This quote from a humanities scholar just nails a core problem. When we automate something like student admissions, the algorithms learn from past data. They get really good at spotting candidates who fit the old mold. But what happens? The outliers, the unique, creative, maybe even brilliant applicants who don't fit the pattern, they just disappear. They get ignored.
And the worries don't stop there. Researchers are seriously concerned that AI could amplify the biases already baked into our society. They worry about de-skilling the next generation of researchers. There are also risks to already fragile academic jobs. And maybe worst of all, it could just reinforce that culture of more is better, all while missing the sparks of surprise and creativity that lead to real breakthroughs.
Let's dig into this de-skilling idea, because it is a fascinating and kind of scary concept. So think about a radiologist. They develop this deep gut-level skill by looking at thousands upon thousands of X-rays. That manual, repetitive work builds an intuition you just can't get from a textbook. The big concern is, if an AI just hands a young researcher a perfect summary of 100 papers, do they ever develop that same deep expertise that comes from wrestling with the material themselves?
And let's be very clear, this matters way beyond the walls of a university. The research that AI influences could directly shape our future. We're talking about the medicines we take, the public policies that govern our lives, and the technologies we use every day. The stakes here are incredibly high.
So where does all of this leave us? It brings us to our final section, and a really crucial shift in how we think about this. It's about being smarter, not just faster. The goal isn't to stop using AI, it's to reframe the entire conversation.
Ultimately, we're facing a choice. We know for a fact AI can make research more efficient, no question. But the real question is, can we guide it to help us do better science? More thoughtful, more creative, more equitable science. That's the challenge.
So what's the game plan? Well, the study suggests a path forward. It means always prioritizing human oversight, keeping a person in the loop. It means building AI to assist, not replace, our judgment. We have to demand that these systems are explainable, not just black boxes. And maybe most importantly, this is a chance to ask some tough questions about the values, like speed over quality, that are driving our institutions in the first place.
And this quote from a social scientist just sums it all up perfectly. The best use of AI isn't to create a copy of a human. It's to create tools that augment our own intelligence, that make us better thinkers, not just replace us.
Which leaves us with this final thought to chew on. The real test of AI in research isn't going to be how quickly it can spit out answers to the questions we already have. The real test will be whether we can harness its power to help us ask entirely new, deeper, and more profound questions, the ones we haven't even thought of yet.